Cubs split with the Cardinals. We also revisit our preseason predictions from March 4th. Let's go.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, alongside Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's episode is presented by our great partners at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Cubs split the series with the Cardinals following a really nice 3-0 win on Thursday. Later in the show, we're going to revisit 6 predictions we made way back on March the 4th about this season.
Bold ones?
Yeah.
Oh,
really proud of those. I'm excited for all shows packed, but especially that part. And Cubs Astros preview later in the show. We know both teams made a big trade over the offseason, and both teams playing really well. Shota Imanaga was excellent on Thursday. 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. We'll discuss the bullpen plan. That was a little bit creative from Counsell. Michael Busch continues to play really, really well. He hit a solo homer on Thursday. And Sam, we're 81 games in, exactly the halfway point. And this team has been in first place. This is game 81. This team has been in first since game 10. And they ended up finishing this series on a high note. But you know, nobody wanted to wait to see what happened. After Tuesday's game, Sam Olber, David Kaplan, CHGO, the setup man crew. We're not talking about the White Sox.
right.
It's a long season, and I'm just glad they were able to bounce back.
Well, with the way this season's flying by, your newborn might be driving a car soon. Because I can't believe it's halfway through the season. Yeah, look, I'm not going to play this game of, do you overreact when they lose and stuff? We got a show to do every day. And so they had a really bad loss Tuesday night, a game that they should have won. And so they had lost 5 of 6 games. And so, you're going to have you're going to be frustrated. They bounced back. I mean, what am I going to do on that show? Come out and go, everything's going to be okay. We're going to split tomorrow. That's not going to be a very fun program. But, they didn't play well Tuesday. They didn't play well Monday. They had a nice breakout game, like you said, kind of a reset. And then the biggest story is, when you're playing essentially almost the whole first half of the season without your best and second best pitchers, however you want to order them, you forget how tough it is to play like that. And, you get that guy back today, and it was just, I was in and out during the game today, but it's such a comfortable feeling. A 2-0 lead actually feels comfortable with a guy like that on the mound. It's actually like
it felt like 5 runs.
Yeah, it feels like you're actually going to get outs. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
and not give up a homer every other at bat. And I think the Cardinals, I think their matchups, with Gorman and Nootbaar and Donovan and Burleson, being able to just have lefties to throw at them made it a lot easier to begin with. And then you add in the fact that it was the Cubs' 2 best pitchers who happen to be lefty. They were able to shut them out for 18 straight innings, whatever it was, right? I mean, they shut them out last night. So got a little bit interesting there in the 9th inning for some reasons, baseball wise, for some other reasons that are just absolutely ridiculous. But because Contreras acknowledged it and apologized, I'm just going to let it be. I made my thoughts on that on Twitter, but it was a great split, 48 wins halfway through. That means you're on pace to win 96, and 96 should be enough, you'd think, to win the NL Central. And the thing is like, being on pace to win 96, my mind goes to, well, yeah, they really ate during that 16-5 stretch, but they also did their job early on in the year when the schedule was so difficult. So it really feels like their schedule is kind of met in the middle. So it really does feel like that's the fair number.
Yeah, and I think my contention, from earlier this week is, maybe we don't know, or we're not as comfortable with the strength of the team top to bottom as maybe in years past where they've been really good. I know there's been a lot of 2016 comparisons for right or wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong.
And maybe we're not as confident in the teams behind them. And we're just there's some uncertainty there, but I just felt like from what I've seen up to this point, they have found a way to quickly pull themselves out of messes.
For sure.
And they did that the last 2 days. And
Absolutely.
it is a long and winding year. And I think if you do want to play the scoreboard with some of these other clubs, I could do that easily too. The Cubs got to Philly earlier this month. They had lost 9 out of 10. They're fine now.
Mm-hmm.
The Mets just lost 10 out of 11. They're going to bounce back, I'm sure. The Yankees lost 7 of 8 recently. They scored like 2 runs.
Right.
Even on the other extreme, Sam, the Rockies.
Yeah.
8-50, and they won 7 of 8.
Well, hopefully they stay hot.
Or whatever it was. So I think that's just where I'm at in terms of that. But I am glad they did pull themselves out of this. You are only 12-10 this month with 12-11 with 3 to play. This series that we're going to preview later in the show is more challenging than this one. I could argue.
Oh, sure.
And so it doesn't stop. But I just feel like throughout the year, whether it's an ebb and flow discussion or not, they have pulled themselves out time and time again.
Well, I don't think they've lost 4 in a row yet.
No.
So that's probably the biggest statistic right there.
And they've only won 5 in a row.
Right. So
does that
yeah, that was what I was going to say.
Hurt us too when we talk about this team. If they had won 8 or 9 in a row earlier, maybe we're not as cooped up with all of it.
Well, I think that, first of all, the only reason this is even like the division's close is because the Cardinals and Brewers each had 9-game win streaks.
Right. They never lose.
Yeah. Those were massive 9-game win streaks. We've never covered one of those before.
No.
And each of them had it. To your point, I just think for me, can only speak for myself because Tuesday, I didn't think I was, gloom or doom that the season was done.
Right.
But I think that 3 weeks ago, the rhetoric was, all right, we got to focus on October. And it's like, let's that's really to your point, let's enjoy the journey to get there first. And it's not just going to be a walk in the park. It's just not how it works unless the division was as bad as people thought. And it's just not. It's better. You know what I mean? So let's get to the division. Then we could talk about October in October.
Well, and especially when some of these players that we've really come to enjoy, they might not be around much longer.
Well, that's
so, and not again, that would be turning on my own credo. Don't talk about the big picture all the time.
Show your shirt.
But that's part of the savoring process.
Yeah. Right.
I could read a baseball reference page. Oh, sign through 2025, sign through 2026. That's not that much.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Horner, Happ, Seiya. I mean, some guys that we've watched now for years.
Well, and my voice.
Not to mention Tucker.
Well, and this is the first time that we've ever had the opportunity of covering what can be considered a very, very good baseball team, and so
right. It hasn't even been close in the 3 years we've done it.
It's important to acknowledge that. I don't disagree with you.
Well, coming up next, I have 6 predictions in front of me, 3 from Sam, 3 from myself, and I'm really excited to get to these. It's the halfway point of the year. But, folks, I think 4 of the 6 have already been proven to be true. Find out next.
This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, Cubs, homestand, Cleveland, and these St. Louis Cardinals. I got to get to one of these games. I may talk to my podcast partner about maybe replacing me in nights. Maybe I'll go during a weeknight. I have a little lighter week next week. I got to find a way to get to one of these baseball games. I have not been to Wrigley Field since Matt and I went the second home game of the season. Maybe I go to St. Louis and let out a couple of boo birds for Contreras because that might be warranted. All I know is that if I'm going, I'm using Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
All right, in front of me, I have 6 preseason predictions, 3 from each person. I guess there was a way to clip this, but it's not realistic nor efficient. But I did type things out. So
bold predictions, by the way.
Yes, this is from
They
March
not
4th.
basic. Not basic.
And if I remember in the post-show process, I will post the link in the episode description if you wanted to listen to that in full. But Sam's first prediction was P. Crow-Armstrong to the AllStar Game. And that's going to happen. Sam added that around the 4th of July, which is about a week from today, PCA would have an average of 263, OPS of 731, top 5 in steals, and playing gold glove defense. And folks, PCA has eclipsed all of this, which is impressive. 272 average after this game today, OPS of 863. He's third in steals with 24. Shout out to Jack Bauer. And he's absolutely playing gold glove defense. And during that convo, I was drinking the Kool-Aid. And I had mentioned, well, All-Star Game, well, what if the fans come out in droves and vote?
Yeah.
And maybe he doesn't even need to come off the bench or something like that. So pretty cool. And for that first prediction right there, Sam, it goes to show it has been a fun year.
Yeah, I mean, he's even if you were PCA's best friend, you didn't have this season. You know what I mean? Like what he's done this year. Again, there's a lot of reasons why they're having success. I mean, to me, that's number one. I mean, it's his, to use Jed's phrase, his outperformance of projections, to me, is the number one reason the Cubs are a 48-win team at the halfway mark.
Yeah, pretty cool. This wasn't as bold, and you gave me some flack for it in the moment, which is justifiable. Cubs with the top 6 offense.
I remember that
the last couple of years. Yeah,
I remember you saying that, though. I forgot about that for a second.
And right now they're number 2 in runs. They've been cold this month, but
they're a top 6 offense.
They are, yeah,
easily.
Okay. All right, this one is where we're going to have to wait until that last game in September. And right now he's on pace for 24. So he's so close.
Yeah.
You said Ian Happ, 26 plus homers, a career high.
Oh.
And he's literally on pace for 24.
And that prediction, I remember in the moment. It's hindsight. So I
hope you're enjoying this segment.
That show. Well, I love this stuff.
Yeah.
I like being right. And I like acknowledging when I'm wrong, which I'm about to do right here.
Oh,
that show.
Yeah.
And no one will believe me, but you will.
Yeah.
I was wrestling between 3 things: Hap just having a really big year. I don't know why I went homers. I just wanted to quantify a really big year.
Right.
Which isn't happening. Let's just call it like it is. He's having a fine year.
Yeah.
And the other two were Carson Kelly taking over the catcher position and running with it, which happened early in the year. And then the one that I was talking about all offseason was Boyd being arguably the best guy on this staff.
Yeah.
And I wish I said one of those two, but hey, maybe Hap gets there.
Yeah, but there was moments early in the year, or maybe prior to first pitch in Japan or at AZ, where you mentioned about Kelly especially.
Yeah, and now it's kind of
Boyd.
like reversed, because now I find myself, although he had a couple hits today, excited when Reese McGuire comes to the dish.
Yeah, wow.
But the Boyd thing, I mean, he's been their best pitcher by, a significantly wide margin.
Yeah.
All
right, my second prediction was the Cubs, for the first time in years, we're going to have a clear closer and setup man. But, of course, I put the caveat of it was going to be Presley and Hodge.
So it's so funny you mentioned that.
That's not true.
Because I was thinking about our video the other day, and I remember you said something like that, and I was like, well, he's kind of right. It's been
I guess.
Keller and Palencia.
30% right.
Yeah, you just put the names on it.
Yeah, Thielbar, Pomerantz, and Keller have almost been like a combined eighth-inning guy.
Your point is that the bullpen at some point was going to stabilize earlier, and it has. So we'll give you half a point for that one so far.
All right. Oh, I like the scoring system.
Yeah.
All right, well, we've talked about this a couple times even this week.
Yeah,
Sam reiterated it for our last episode. Massive midseason trade.
Blockbuster.
And you didn't have a name in mind, but I mentioned on March the 4th Sandy Alcantara, who the Cubs have been connected to. And I'm glad that your confidence in this remains.
I don't think, and really, when I said that one too, that wasn't really a bold prediction. Like, think about it. You knew they were going to be at the deadline, and you knew that that Tucker, if he's not signed yet, they have to go win the division. So I didn't really feel very bold about that one. It's kind of a gimme. Plus, what quantifies as a blockbuster is the other gray area. Like Mitch Keller. Right. Mitch Keller doesn't.
No.
But I think Keller and Bednar do.
Yeah, and see, to support your point, though, I feel like on March 4th, I was still a little bit skittish about their spending and their activity. So
we knew in the offseason, if they were going to spend like that, they were saving up for July. And that's and that's what happened if they're good. Like we always were told. I mean, Cap even told us on our very show, and he obviously has some sort of line. He had Ricketts on his program.
Right.
And he said, like, if they're good in July, he will spend. And so the question was just getting there, and believe it or not, it makes me just cringe to say. I mean, July starts in like 4 days
on Tuesday. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give myself credit, but not a lot. Cause I think that was the only way they wouldn't make a blockbuster deal, in my opinion, is if they were out of it.
Yeah.
But what's a blockbuster deal? I think that's a great quantification. I
top of the rotation guy.
I think Keller and Bednar would be, but not just Keller.
Definitely.
And I think that's the difference. I mean, you also would love
Keller Bednar would have shades of Lofton Ramirez.
Yeah, especially because of where they're coming from.
Yeah.
It's weird to be this far into the season and have no idea who might sell in a month. Like, take a team like the Giants, for example. They just got swept at home by the Marlins. They traded for Rafael Devers 10 days ago in what was maybe the biggest early trade ever. Like, I don't know, so it's really interesting to see where these teams are at. And if there's a team that maybe is looking ahead to the future that says, hey, you know what, maybe we have a chance at the third wild card, but you know what, this is a seller's market. I want to make some hay for 26 and beyond. I don't know.
Well, and I saw on the ESPN list the other day, the top 50 trade candidates, like Pete Fairbanks was on there. It's like, well, the Rays are 10 games over 500.
Right. No, the Rays are unbelievable.
So
what that franchise is able to do, it never ceases to amaze me.
Well, this happened because of the dude that returned today, thankfully, with flying colors. But Cade Horton, meaningful starting pitching innings happened.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
And it happened early in the year. He's already up to 41 frames. And I'm glad he solidified himself as a major league starter. I think his ceiling is maybe like a 3-ish, maybe a 2 one day soon. But I'm glad he's contributed in a meaningful way this year.
Great call.
Yeah, it's my best one.
Yeah.
So. All right.
Very good. Wow.
Well, those are the 6 predictions we made. And
wow. So wait, what did we get wrong? Hodge, Presley.
We didn't get anything 100% wrong.
What was your first one again?
Top 6 offense.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
PCA, ASG, top 6 offense. Ian Happ, homers, clear closer and setup man. I lost a half point. Massive midseason trade, Horton innings.
Well, let me sprinkle a little second half prediction before we talk about the Astros.
Nice.
Well, why not? I don't think this is a bold one either, but I'm just going to say it. Okay. On the back of his All-Star game, the only way Pete Crow-Armstrong doesn't win MVP is if Ohtani gets it. He's going to finish top 2 in MVP unless Kyle Tucker stays hot. And how fun is that to say?
This would be awesome.
I really think, I mean, he had a quiet series in St. Louis, but if he gets hot again, man, steal those bases.
Well, where would he finish in the voting today?
I think first.
Okay. Where would Tucker finish?
It's a great
5th?
question. He's top 5 for sure.
Okay. That's exciting.
Who would be ahead? I mean, Ohtani. You can't put Carroll ahead of him. He just got hurt, and they're,
right. Freddie Freeman, maybe.
Yeah, but Freeman's really started to quiet down. He plays first.
Sure.
Soto's heated up, but still not having the year Tucker's having overall.
Right.
I feel like I got to be missing somebody, but no. I think top 3, 4, 5. Tatis is always high on there, but
sure.
He's not having a better campaign than Tucker.
No.
Man, that'd be crazy.
All right, coming up next, we're going to preview Cubs Astros. Cubs Astros this weekend, 7:10 Friday, 6:15 exclusively on Fox Saturday, 1:10 Sunday. Horton and Walter, Ray and TBD, Tyone and Valdez. Couple of things right away here. Tyone on Sunday, I think, is going to be very tricky. And Lance McCullers is likely going to be activated from the IL and start Saturday for Space City.
You never give me good news with this stuff.
He's been solid this year. And despite trading their best player in December, the Astros are firmly in first place in the AL West. Right now, they'd be one of the top candidates to go to the World Series, I think. They've been in the Fall Classic 4 times since 2017. And I'll give you the 3 updates that we're all seeking, I'm sure. Isaac Paredes could be on track for a reserve spot on the AL All-Star team. OPS of .818 with 16 homers. Cam Smith is slashing .268, .340, .399. He has stuck all year so far. And Hayden Wisniewski made 6 starts before having Tommy John surgery last month. Sam?
Well, one thing I'd like to say is you can make an argument they traded their best player, but if they didn't trade their best player's played 29 games this year and has been hurt, Yordan Alvarez. So their 2 main guys have not been a part of the middle of their lineup, and they're still 48 and 33. I think
it's a machine. They're a machine.
I think they've qualified themselves in the tier of, like, you just know they're going to be good every year.
Yes, of course.
And the Cubs needed a guy like Tucker, but I don't really think there was a whole lot of sweating going on in their front office. Plus, with all due respect, the American League is so bad. I mean, it really is a weak. I know the Tigers are having a big year and Houston's good, but I'm talking depth-wise, just the depth teams.
Yep.
So they're really comfortable. They're really good. I mean, Valdez is a guy. Isn't he up after the end of the year?
He is.
Yeah. So they got him. They arguably have the Cy Young candidate. Cubs are missing him, Hunter Brown, who dominated. Brown. You know how many runs the Phillies scored in this series in Houston?
Can I guess? How many games was it?
I think it was a 3-game series.
I'm going to say 5.
1 run, and it was today.
Oh, wow. Jeez, man. So the Astros swept.
I think that's right. Hold on. Maybe
Yeah.
it was the last 2 days. Let me look at, no, yeah. They won 1-0 on Tuesday. 1-0 on Tuesday. They won 2-1 today.
Okay.
And then the score on Wednesday was 2-0. So they scored one run. Oh,
Wow.
well, maybe they're due for some regression in that, arcade park that they play in.
Yeah, it's such a weird park. I don't have great memories of the Cubs there like when I was a kid either.
The only real great
With that weird like red uniform.
I remember Zambrano hitting a massive home run righty there. Righty, he switched hit
To left field.
Yeah,
presumably.
yeah, and then a couple Sosa balls that landed on the train tracks just come to mind.
That's fun.
But look, I don't want to spend really any time at all on the Cam Smith Paredes stuff. You have to make the trade. We know that the trade is going to be criticized if the Cubs don't re-sign Tucker. Cam Smith being good in Houston is not a big surprise. I think the frustrating part about that is that they could have had Matt Shaw, all due respect to Matty Shaw. But maybe
instead of Smith, right?
Instead of Smith. Paredes hitting there makes all the sense in the world. Wrigley was a terrible fit for him. So, the Cubs got rid of Bellinger. They got rid of Paredes. They got rid of Cam Smith. They got rid of Wisniewski, and they brought back Kyle Tucker. And, they're a way better team than they were last year. So that's
there it is.
That's what it is. And, there's a Saturday Fox tilt.
Yes, there is. Not excited for that one.
I know there's going to be a lot of talk and a lot of analyzing. And hey, I'd love to see Houston again in October, and because that would
be great.
That would mean we made the World Series. But
be poetic, I think.
But with the rhetoric around the trades and stuff, we live in this society with sports. Like everybody's always looking to make fun of people. Like, oh, that was the worst take ever. That was the worst trade ever. And it's like, hey, yeah. The Phillies had David Robertson for a half year and the Cubs got Ben Brown, but the Phillies thought they had an opportunity to win a World Series. The Mets got by as like this is just, it's the business. And right. Kyle Tucker's really good at baseball. So, we'll be interested to see his ovation.
Yes, it will. He's had a long career there, had accolades up and down his resume. So I think it'll be
Presley too. Presley's returning.
I think they both will be well received, especially Tucker.
Well, they won a world championship.
Yes, they did. And so Tucker won a world championship and he made another one, right?
Yeah. They lost to Atlanta.
Yeah. All right, winnability meter here. I think they're going to be the Cubs.
I love this. Is my favorite part of the previews.
Well, I think they're going to be heavy dogs Sunday. Right?
Heavy.
Okay. Heavy to medium Saturday.
Yep.
Especially with McCullers coming back.
Yep.
And I think there'll be a slight underdog Friday too, even though there's a nondescript pitcher here for the Astros making his fifth start, Walter, but he's left-handed.
Couldn't agree more. If I had to guess the lines, I'd go.
But you got to win Friday though to avoid a sweep.
If I had to guess the lines, I'd say it's something like Astros minus 120 tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
minus 130, 135 Saturday.
I was thinking 150.
No, and then Sunday could be like a minus 175 type of game.
No, 200.
You think 200? It'll be that big?
Yeah, Tyone has given up 21 home runs. So, well, that's not a joke.
No,
I know. A real stat. Yeah.
No, it just makes me laugh.
All right, you just hiccuped on the air. So.
Yeah, well, I couldn't help it.
Well,
it happened.
It's been a long week, and
it's been hot.
Yeah, since my birthday, it's been hot.
I know.
Since Bennett was born, every day's hot. Can't even bring him outside.
Maybe that's a good omen.
Yeah.
Wait,
why?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Oh boy. Okay.
I don't know. Just like hot, good weather. Maybe he'll get hot at the plate when he's 6-7 years old or something like that.
Well, I'm gonna be coaching him, so hopefully he is.
Right. And the Cubs will be, feeling
so
a
coach
team.
pitch these days, Sam. Are you aware of this? They have
they'll be competing with the Rays in payroll by that time.
They have a lever that shoots the ball to the hitter. The dad doesn't pitch anymore.
Let's close the show.
This is Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I don't want to hear stuff like that.
Check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night.
You should be able to pitch to your kid.
Every game, every night, all season long.
I mean, come on. This is not that difficult.
Find MLB Game Night on the Locked On MLB channel on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, I'm gonna continue to savor this show, especially. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.